the DORK podcast with Rich Keefe. It's the DORK podcast. Keefe Davey. It's the DORK podcast. Hashtag. It's the hashtag DORK podcast.
Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Hashtag Dork. My name is Rich Keefe, joined as always by Davey Eyeballs. He is Razzle Von Dazzle. He is Johnny Hundo. All hail the king of ginger ale. It's Ryan Davey. Davey, how are you?
Just full tang summer rolling along. I mean, I'm coming to you tonight from beautiful Sunapee, New Hampshire.
Oh, how about
vacationing with my family and my extended family, so it's nice.
Very good.
If you hear some buzzing coming from the other room, I'm actually in a screened-in porch right now. For those listening, there is a very heated game of left, right, center going on right now, as I just explained to you. So if those listeners out there have played that game before, you know it gets a little intense. So you might hear some tears from an 8 or 6 year old. So
I was just thinking it was a live studio audience, but turns out it is.
My father may have or not asked whether he could be involved tonight, and I said, "You better just kind of stay."
Like, you need to submit your list by Thursday of your top 10 Netflix original movies.
Yeah, exactly.
He did not, so he is not.
He did not. He is not. Yeah.
Therefore, that answers that. But Ryan, we have a lot to get to today, so let's get right into it. Better Call Saul down to the final 3 episodes ever. It airs tonight, I guess a little bit after if you're watching us live, a little bit in like 15 minutes. It's going to be an episode entitled Breaking Bad. So I would assume this is the Walter White, Jesse Pinkman episode.
Let's hope.
And maybe you'll get him in the next couple as well. I mean, I know Vince Gilligan is writing and directing the next episode, and then the finale, Peter Gould is writing and directing. But what have you thought of the season so far?
I think it's really good, and I think it's again, the big question mark we had is what's going to happen with Kim, and how does that resolve itself? You kind of got a little bit of it, like I think there's a little bit of that, but there's still this gap.
Yeah,
there's still this gap between who we know Saul as when we meet him and I would call it like the Jimmy McGill kind of transitioning. Mm-hmm. There's still this like chunk of a person that we're still missing. And I hope you get it in like the next 3 episodes, how that happens.
Yeah. And I have faith because this team is so good and they think things out. So even if when they started Better Call Saul, they might not have been exactly sure what the path was going to be. They had to, once you said you were going to do this show, these are probably some of the episodes that you're thinking about first, like leading directly into Breaking Bad. How are you going to be able to take the character?
Yeah. And in the education world, we'll refer as like backwards design. Like, you know what you want the outcome to be and you work backwards from there. So I think that would be the smart way. Like you said, this would be the smart way to play that. Yeah. Is to, okay, this is where we need him to be and play it backwards. Mm-hmm. You know? So
I'm obviously looking forward to it. This will be a standalone episode at the end of the month for Better Call Saul. Curious if you've started the show and or if you think it is worth a standalone episode, but Brian K. Vaughan's comic book or graphic novel, whatever you want to call it, has been adapted on Amazon Prime. Paper Girls, season 1. It is all out. It's 8 episodes. I've watched 4 of them. Have you started, first of all?
On Sunday, as I was packing up, I had like the TV on passively in my bedroom and saw on Prime like a commercial for Paper Girls. And I was like, oh shit, that came out. Mm-hmm. It was, I mean, there's, like you said, there's been so much TV this month, I feel like, and even more coming. Yeah. That this kind of got lost in the background for me, but I'm actually really excited to watch it. Is it good?
I've liked it. Yeah, I liked it. I read the comic book and I really liked the comic book. I think it was a pick of the pod a long time ago. And,
I remember you talking about it. Yeah.
It's good. And it was like, I wasn't sure what to expect because we've seen so many comic book adaptations, obviously, over the last several years, and they're hit or miss. Like Jupiter's Legacy famously is the worst reviewed show we've ever done. Oh. And then there's like The Boys, right? So there's 6 out of 6s. There's 1 out of 6s. So I'm halfway through and I've enjoyed it. I think it's good. And
is Jupiter's Legacy the worst? Is that the lowest score we've ever given?
Yeah, I think it's the only time we've given a flat 1. Yeah, that would be the answer to the trivia question. That's the worst show ever reviewed. But it is Amazon Prime, and Prime has done The Boys and they've done Invincible, and they're 2 for 2 there.
Those are really good. Yeah.
And this may not be as good as that, but I think they're trending towards 3 out of 3. You mentioned all the shows that are out now or coming out. I ran a Twitter poll at Dork Podcast for August TV shows. Now, the poll's already been it's final. You can't vote on it now. And one of those shows they announced today is actually going to get it punted to September 21st.
It didn't win anyway.
It didn't win. And I came in third, but Andor, the Star Wars show, which somehow is getting 2 seasons.
Already? It hasn't even
right.
Yeah.
3 episodes are going to come out September 21st. I will say the trailer, the new one that came out today, looks pretty good. I don't have a lot of excitement level around this, but it actually looks pretty good.
And it's the whole team that wrote and produced Rogue One. So they obviously care about this character very much. I do like the idea of how this revolution starts without Jedi or Sith. I think there's a whole story to be told with just normies, like normal people, that I think Rogue One captured very well, but hopefully this kind of does the same thing.
Yeah, it's normies, but it's also in that time between episode 3 and 4. So I'm curious like what the references are. You saw Saw Gerrera in this, Forrest Whitaker's character, and some of those other characters, because Cassian Andor wasn't even like anywhere near the best character in the fucking show.
No, I would even say his droid was better than him.
Yeah, I think so. In the chat asking if it's 6 episodes. I believe it's 12. Yeah, I believe Andor is 12 episodes, and the first 3 will be released on September 21st, and then running through like November or whatever. Yeah. So, but that was on a poll with House of the Dragon, She-Hulk, Andor, and the Sandman, and that was the order in which it was voted. So 44.
I am shocked. I voted for Sandman. I am shocked that more people aren't in on Sandman. That's going to be really, really good.
I'm excited for Sandman too, and I think I voted for Sandman, but I also think it's just not as popular as the others. So you have a Star Wars property, you have an MCU property, and you have a Game of Thrones prequel.
And it's like something
Sandman, we love Sandman, but he's not on that level.
And there's something with Neil Gaiman adaptations that just don't really work. Like Good Omens is good. American Gods was good for 2 seasons. Like what's the other one?
You know what he was saying? He wants to do Marvel's 1602. He wants that to be a show.
I would love to see it. Maybe it animated. I would love to see that animated with like kick-ass voice, with like the voice actors who they are, but like speaking in Victorian English would be kick-ass.
Oh, that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah.
Benedict Cumberbatch could pull that off, no problem.
Absolutely, and he's the main character in the story. Right. So.
But House of the Dragon not only won, it won pretty convincingly, 45% of the vote for House of the Dragon. So that's this month. I am looking forward to that now because we've been told there's going to be 17 dragons to be exact. That's 17. Plenty.
Yeah.
I'm a little worried about She-Hulk. We've already discussed that at length, but that got about 25% of the vote. And then Andor at 17%, and then Sandman at 14%. So they're all good votes, but we'll see what happens. Also in August, Reservation Dogs season 2, and I know that was one of your favorite shows from a year ago.
Yeah, and this I think it's coming out next week, and it's all of it. It's ready to rock on Hulu. It's a Hulu. I think it's no longer on FX. It's just a Hulu exclusive now.
Okay.
And so the whole season's being able to stream, and this is a show that like it's really solid, some really good characters, but I would consider it like a gap show. Like if you're in between House of the Dragon or Sandman and you just need like, all right, I need a break from that. What can I watch? Definitely check out Reservation Dogs. It's really, really good.
We're also going to get I Am Groot, the series of shorts. I know your daughter's
fired up for I Am Groot. Yep.
And this is coming at the perfect time in my house, but season 3 of Bluey is coming to Disney Plus.
We talk about anticipated shows of the summer. So a week from Friday, right? Is the season 3 premiere of Bluey. I got to tell you, it is must-watch TV.
It's one of the greatest shows. And like within the last month, and I talked about this a little bit last week, but within the last month, it has become Cece's favorite by far. Because normally we're like, if I'm making her breakfast or dinner or whatever, we throw TV, I'm like, what do you want to watch? And usually it was like a rotation. It's like Muppet Babies, Mickey Mouse, and she just picks out a different ones, all different stuff. She gets into like habits of it. But this week it's like morning and night. It's like Bluey, 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 Bluey.
And right now there's a ton of episodes. I think season 2 was like 27 episodes or something. It's crazy.
They're 9 they're 9 minutes. So when you watch
Right.
it on Disney Junior, they put like 3 together and they call it like a half hour. But they're
Right.
really like 8 or 9 minutes. And I think already there's like 50 of them or 100 of them.
There's so many of them. Yeah.
And now there's gonna be another like 50 coming.
Oh,
So
and it's so great. And I was talking to my sister who's here with me. She has a 9-year-old baby, a 9-month-old baby. 9-year-old baby. No, she has a 9-month-old, and she's like, I just love that like the kids play. Like they just imagination. There's no screens, there's no anything.
I know,
They just
great.
like play. And so I think that the irony is that the kids are watching on TV them doing it, but my kids
Yeah, right.
play the games that they play.
Yeah.
Which is awesome.
Oh, that is really great. Yeah.
Some serious games of keepy uppy in the Davey household.
I love the fucking when they're in the bath time and they're selling fucking burgers or
Hamburger.
So good.
Yeah.
And she's like, all right, it's time to go to bed. No more burgers. She's like, yeah. I'm selling tacos. And you're like, fuck, okay. But it's like, oh, it's classic. It's great stuff.
Great show. Yeah.
Lock and Key season 3.
Oh my God.
Neither of us watched season 2, but
no, we did not, and we did not need this.
So that's the spectrum that I'm talking about, right? Like, so that's why with Paper Girls, you're like, I have no idea, because Lock and Key was a great comic book, but the show stinks. So, and then Tekken Bloodline is going to be a Netflix animated show.
I'm in on that.
I am too. I watched the trailer, and it looks kind of Tekken 3 based, where like Jin it seems to be the main character, and then I think Ogre might be like sort of the final boss, but it's all about how Hayashi like beat the shit out of Jin or like made him tough, and now he's like making him go into the tournament, and then fucking Nina's there and King and Paul. Like, I'm in on this.
I'm excited for and it's so funny that like watching these trailers, like you could say, oh, that's Tekken 3 just by what people are wearing.
Yeah.
It's like just by the outfit they're wearing, we're into like Tekken 3 at this point.
Yeah,
right?
because like Nina's in the purple, and you're like, yep, very nice, looking good.
It's
Rick
not
and
full
Morty.
Armor King yet. It's just King.
Oh, it was just King with like the fucking sweatpants and the headgear. Rick and Morty season 6 on September 4th.
Very excited.
That's right around the corner.
Very excited. So this was in the video. I talked about this like the multiverses.
Yeah.
So in the training, so you have to do like a training. And so the people who help you, like the bots that help you in your training, are Meeseeks. So I had to, and I'm like, that makes sense. That makes sense. But I had to explain to my daughters what Meeseeks were. Like, what are those? I'm like, those are Meeseeks. And now, I'm not kidding. They run around the house. They go, I'm Mr. Meeseeks. Look at me. I'm like, oh, God damn it. And my wife is so mad at me.
You can't watch that whole episode, but you can watch
and
parts.
I told my 8-year-old daughter that there was a character on the show called Mr. Poopy Butthole. And you should have seen her eyes she's like, what? Who is Mr. Poopy Butthole?
I need to watch this show.
Yeah, she was so excited.
Mr. Poopy Butthole is a great character. Mr. Meeseeks that might be my favorite episode. That's right.
That's a good episode. Yeah, and I said, well, they help you, so that's why they're there to help you, and then they disappear when they're done.
Yeah, they serve.
That's all I had to say. 8-year-old. That's all I had to say. They help you, and then they're gone.
I just want to take 3 strokes off my golf game. Come on, Jerry, you're killing us. We got a couple of trailers this week, including one for Pearl, the prequel to X.
It looks good.
Yeah, it does.
I don't know about all the animal killing and stuff, but like, I'm in. There's so much going on.
Yeah,
so much going on.
And of all the shows or all the movies that get prequels, which are like most of them now, like this one, you actually wanted a prequel for. You're like, how the fuck did they get to that point? You know?
Yeah.
No, I'm in on this. Did you see the trailer for Oppenheimer?
I did.
It's movies like this that make 6 Degrees, the game 6 Degrees, like too easy. Like everybody is in this movie.
It would be harder to name people not in this movie.
Yeah. So this is the new Christopher Nolan movie that comes out July 21st of next year.
Yes.
Well, obviously it's August 1st. So but they came out with the trailer like roughly a year from now. Yeah, I think we might have read like half of the cast list like last week. I'm not going to read it again. It's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
But the film follows J. Robert Oppenheimer, the manager of the Los Alamos laboratory during the Manhattan Project, and his contributions that led to the creation of the atomic bomb. And then it just has like 1,000 people in this.
Just a real feel-good tale about mass murder, you know?
Yeah.
Here you go.
Now, speaking of feel-good tales, coming out on September 28th. The first ever Netflix produced NC-17 film, Blonde, starring Ana de Armas as Marilyn Monroe.
So when they first announced this, I think 95% of, hot-blooded Americans were like, nice,
I'm saying nice.
And then you see the trailer and you're like, it's not going that way. This is going to be a tough watch.
Something's going to be tough.
No, I don't think
nope.
I don't think I don't think it's going to go that way. I don't think it's going to be like that.
It's NC-17, Ryan.
Yeah, but like you're
the sweet meat, baby, the sweet meat.
What is that from?
Adam Sandler when
yes,
doing the calls or doing like the sex calls, whatever.
My pud.
Yeah, I was to play with my jamma. You're what? The sweet meat, baby, the sweet meat. What the fuck?
I think this is going to be so uncomfortable.
Oh, you're out of your mind.
No, I'm not. I don't think I am. This is going to be. You're going to be sad. You're going to be sad watching it.
Sad tears. It all works.
Okay, fine. But I'm just saying it right now.
She's getting ripped on Twitter. Well, I don't know if she's getting ripped. Maybe just the film is, because Marilyn Monroe turns out did not have a Spanish accent.
Believe it or not.
I don't know, man. NC-17, it's got to be pretty steamy.
It's going to be, but it's going to be like coerced steamy. It's not going to be like two willing participants, if you know what I mean.
All right.
Yeah. I'm just saying, it's just going to go that way. It's going to make you sad. Is what I'm saying.
That groovy dude, he saw it. Did you just call it your pud? Why don't you pull out my pud? That fucking. I'll tell you
what makes it John. It was one of the hardest I laughed watching Trainwreck, which is a funny movie. John Cena would be like, I'm going to give you my full pecker.
Yeah, it's basically that, but a skit, but on a fucking CD skit. Oh, so this is kind of related. I meant to lead off the episode of this. So something I was thinking about the other day, and I know your family's in the next room, but
they can't hear me.
Okay, my question, and I don't know, like say you're in like an Iron Man race or something like that.
Okay.
If you had a massive boner, what would slow you down more, or what would? Now let me ask it in a different way. If you had a boner, would you be slower swimming, running, or on a bike?
I think you would be slower swimming because it would act as like a rudder. Like it would be like kind of like hanging down and kind of creating drag as you go.
Yeah, I didn't think of it that way.
Yeah,
that might be true.
But the whole time you're in spandex, so it's kind of just like pressed to your leg.
Yeah, I feel like a bike, you'd probably just kind of figure it out. You'd be fine. Probably you might go fast, and then
you might, because if it's up, then it creates a draft.
I didn't even think about that. You're right. In the water, you're probably kind of in trouble.
It's kind of dragging below you, so you're like,
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. You want to avoid that.
I said a rudder, but it's a keel. It's the keel on the bottom of the boat.
Oh,
right.
Keel. Yeah. Right.
I said a rudder. You know what I mean? Yeah.
It's a good question anyway. Ben Affleck reportedly going to be in Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom as Batman again. Can't say no.
How'd they get him out of bed for that?
They probably paid him a look. You know what they did was they saw what the MCU did at Comic-Con and they're like, fucking A. Call Ben and tell him whatever he wants.
Yeah. They have to that's his quote. And they have to give him that even if he does a bad job.
Why is that important to you?
What are you, 2 years old?
Yeah.
I've seen every cock on the planet.
Oh my Christ. Ryan, I know you're not a big wrestling guy anymore, but SummerSlam was this past weekend, and it was the first major event post Vince McMahon like stepping down from the company. I thought it was a blast. I loved it. They had so many great things. They had a couple of returns, a couple of like injured wrestlers were back. Edge and Bailey were back. They did a match at the end. The main event was Brock Lesnar, Roman Reigns, which normally snore. They've wrestled 1,000 times. Yeah. Brock Lesnar came to the ring in a giant ass tractor, wrestled most of the match, then got back in the tractor, pushed the ring like 6 feet, and then lifted it up. So it was like fucking like on a decline. It was, you never seen
that's super dangerous. That is super dangerous.
Well, yeah, and he's in the stadium, and like he drives this tractor down the fucking aisleway, and it's like literally the size of it. Like if it was any bigger, it wouldn't have fit. That's what she said.
So what it says, he's doing like a farm boy angle now.
Yeah, well, he's just a big like country strength.
He's a big hoss. That's all he is, right?
Yeah, he's a hoss. That's right.
He is a hoss.
The dude's a fucking big dude. So
worst tattoos I've ever seen, though.
He doesn't have great tattoos.
He has that sword on his chest that looks like a feather that I haven't been able to like get my head around. Like it looks like a feather.
Also looks like he's getting TF'd. Like that's not what you're trying to do.
And it's not full. I don't think it's full tang. The handle's too small.
Full tang. It's just like in there, and you're like, dude.
Yeah.
Push them together. So anyway, not great. All right, let's get to
Is he still married to Sable, by the way?
I believe he is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they have kids and everything.
God love him.
Yep. God bless. Should I have bought this? Brought to you by 47 Brand. Go to 47brand.com. Enter the promo code #DORK at checkout for 25% off your entire order. So if you spend $375.87, you would get 25% off that entire order if you use the promo code #DORK. You thought I was going to do the math again, didn't you?
I did. I was waiting. We're not math guys. Unfortunately.
Yeah. All right, let's pull it up here, Rye. Okay. What do you see? What do you tell the people that are not watching us on YouTube? By the way, you can watch us every Monday night, seemingly on YouTube.com/Dork Podcast, or you can go back and watch it. But most people listen. So, Rye, what do we got?
I got a bottle of something here. What do we got? We got 4 Walls, limited edition.
Yep.
Irish whiskey.
So let me tell you the story about this. This is from Andrew, and this is another should I have bought this redemption story. So you remember we had the one guy that tried to come back in. He had the wand, and then he came back in again and also got denied because he had the fucking bridge trolls. This one This one comes from Andrew. He says, "Hello, gentlemen. I am coming back, hopeful for redemption after my Toy Story debacle."
Oh, it's a Toy Story guy. All right, yeah.
Who bought like a dozen Toy Story toys.
Yeah.
All right. He says, "I'm a big fan of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, so naturally I was excited to give their podcast a listen when that started up. As it seems everyone is doing these days, they made a limited release whiskey named 4 Walls. Not only do I love Sunny, I also enjoy whiskey. And to top it all off, proceeds from the whiskey go to charity. With shipping, I paid blank for the bottle. For reference, I've included a picture of the bottle and box that it comes in. As a big fan of the show, whiskey and charity, I am happy with the purchase, but I must ask, should I have bought this?" So
before I answer that question, let me ask you another question. Are there 3 better things to be a fan of than us, charitable donations, and whiskey? Are there any 3 things to be a better fan of?
No. See, I'm not a big whiskey guy, but if you just said like booze drink and then #dork charity, I'm with you. Yeah.
All right. Here's the 3 things you need to be a fan of in your life. Me, Rich second.
Yep. Okay.
Giving money to people less fortunate than you.
Yes.
And getting fucked up.
Getting fucking blitzkrieg drunk. And Always Sunny.
Absolutely couch locked. That's what you need to do. If you need to know what that is, that's
where. Oh my God! What game show have you ever seen that had swearing in it?
That is my new favorite term for getting overserved, is being couch locked, where you're so drunk that you can't get off the couch.
Couch locked. Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one.
But I'm going to say that this bottle water, this bottle of whiskey, $65.
Ryan, it's higher than that. And as he says, with shipping.
Oh, with shipping? Okay.
He paid higher. He paid $112.29.
Now, that is a single malt Irish whiskey, hopefully. Hopefully that's a good bottle of something.
Yeah, let's see. Can we zoom in here? Looks like 750 mil, 45% alcohol by volume. That'd be your 90
proof.
That's quick math. A blend of Irish whiskeys and Pennsylvania straight rye whiskey.
It says age. What's that? 90? Is it age 90 days or whatever? 9.
No, that just says 90 proof.
Oh, 90 proof. Okay,
No,
I can't see it.
It's a lot of money, Ryan. You know me.
It's a lot of money.
I'm a frugal fanny, but
Triple
what do you
distilled,
think?
straight Pennsylvania. That's from Pennsylvania, so it's Philadelphia made, right?
Well, yeah,
Irish style
it's
whiskey.
always sunny, guys.
Yeah, no, I'm just making sure.
Oh, gotcha. Ooh, boy.
I don't know. I would say I'm going to say no on this.
I'm a bit torn because again, I'm not going to tell somebody not to get booze. Again, drink responsibly, please. Right. But I would normally say yes on that. So should we go to the people?
Hang on. Before we do, so one of the things I read in the description, so he has it in the box. The box is standing up. There's a description of the bottle, right? And in it, it says you can use it to punch up your favorite cocktail. Any good whiskey, you don't use as a mixer.
That's actually a good point.
So if they're selling this to as like a mixer for like $80, like, nah, not it.
All right. Looks like the people of
I love charity. I love charity.
I'm looking at the chat too. It's sort of could sway me. The chat could sway me.
Yeah.
And it's definitely swaying me in this direction.
Get the fuck out of here.
Listen.
Yeah.
Andrew,
sorry, Drew.
That is 0 for 2. But again, there's no reason not to get back on that horse.
Third time's a charm. Whatever you come with next is going to be awesome. I guarantee
third time it might be. Right? That's what you do.
Yep.
You get knocked down, right? You get right back on that horse.
That's right.
Sweetie,
Yeah, honey.
the horse you're on has a huge penis.
No reason
I'd like
not
to go home now.
No reason not to. I'm not having any fun. 47. Oh, Andrew's in the house. Yeah, he's gonna come back. He's like, I bought a shitload of hats.
Perfect. Boom.
You're
Winner.
in.
Yeah.
This is how we do it.
This is how we do it.
All right, so once again, you can email us dorkpodcast@gmail.com. I just got another really good one this week too. That
you did?
Unless something else like topical comes next week, I already have it penciled in for next week. It is pretty solid. It's pretty good. I think you'll enjoy it. But again, send those bad boys in. Got like a little bit of a backlog on there, but that's good because it's a good time. dorkpodcast@gmail.com. $25 minimum for should I have bought this? All right, let's get to this.
It's time for Davey's video game minute. Even if it takes more than a minute.
All right, Rob, what do you have?
So I have some sour news, but a silver lining to it. So I was reading this. It was actually a very interesting article about over the last 2 years, the video game industry has seen this boom of sales and production and engagement and all of these things. So that, I mean, they have recognized at this point that this is due to COVID. So a lot of people being at home, having a little bit more time on their hands. So people investing more time in video games. The bad news is now that is coming down, crashing to earth with Sony and Microsoft reporting not as good, or sales declining over the last
I think
year.
you had it. Declension.
Yeah, sale declining for like the past year.
Okay.
But the silver lining to this, Richard, is that now with that happening, the Sony people have said that they want to get more PlayStation 5s out there for people like you who have not been able to get one.
That'd be
so
good.
far.
Although
So
I
they're
am
trying to
curious if I should just wait for the PS6 at this point.
No, come on. This is going to be years. You're going to sit on a PlayStation 4. Like, come on.
All right.
Come on, man.
No, I know.
And
I need it for Suicide Squad and probably still Gotham Knights, even though it's kind of neat.
And they're putting now support in for 1440p. And so a lot of like different resolutions and frame rates and all that stuff. So it's actually going to be a little bit more user friendly for those you have no idea what I just said, do you?
You said frame rates.
Yeah, I did.
They're going to be
so
better.
Basically, like you could play at a higher frame rate.
Yeah,
so you don't have to play. You have to play like full 4K. You can like trim it down and play at higher frame rates. So that's one of the things that PC people will talk about. It's like frame rate matters more than graphics, and which it does.
Yeah.
And the only other bit of news I have, so you're aware of the streamer Dr. Disrespect, right?
Oh yeah, of course.
So he is now. You got the first footage of his game called Dead Drop. So he is making his own game, which he is now claiming will blow Call of Duty out of the water. And it is the very first vertical extraction game. So, you know, like, so if you think of Call of Duty or Fortnite or any of those games where the storm, they call it like a spiral extraction where the circle comes in.
Mm-hmm.
This, you have to go up. So you start at like the ground floor of a building, like in Dread, and you have to go up, like to get to the roof.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
So it's actually pretty cool. And it looks a little bit like, if you guys have ever played or seen Escape from Tarkov, it kind of looks like and feels like that with the same sound design. But you start on like the ground level of this massive building. To me, it looks like Dread. If you've seen the movie Dread.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen the movie, that movie's fucking rules.
Dread's not to be confused with Judge Dredd.
Not Judge Dredd, but Dread with Kyle Urban.
Yeah, it's great.
It's amazing. And what's her name? Cersei Lannister.
Yes. Yeah. Lena Headey.
Yeah. So it reminds me of that, and it actually looks pretty cool. So I'm kind of in on this right now. It's a little rough around the edges because it's all pre-alpha footage and whatever. But just the idea of like ascending a building to get to a helicopter to take you away and figuring out how to do that is kind of a good idea.
Yeah, I like it.
Right?
Wait, so is that out for everything?
Yeah, I think so. It would be PC first, but I think eventually it'll get ported to. But
okay.
It's in development stages. But so you got like the first looks of it, and it looks pretty clean, like pretty good.
Okay.
Looks pretty good.
I like it.
And that's what I got for Davey's Video Game Minute.
Very good, bro. I got a question.
Y'all ready for biz?
You ready for the topic du jour?
Say what?
Well, I'm glad you asked. It's the topic of the day, and today it is top 10 Netflix original movies. And this was inspired really for a couple of reasons. One, we had an opening in the schedule. But two, The Gray Man just came out. We talked about Blonde, and Davey's already predicting a dud. He could be right. That comes out.
No, I'm not saying it's going to be a dud. I'm not saying it's not going to be good.
Oh.
It's just not going to be the sexual content you think it is.
Full penetration.
That's all I'm saying. You might, but like, okay. It's going to be like forced penetration. It's not going to be fun to watch, is what I'm saying.
What?
Yeah. Have you listened? Did you watch the trailer? Did you listen to anything she was saying?
No.
Jesus Christ. All right.
I thought she hooked up with Joe DiMaggio. The guy had a 54-game hitting
streak.
But
they asked her in the trailer like how she got famous, and there's a whole like creepy producer behind her. Like, I don't think this is going to go the way. This is going to be like Starlight joining the VOD Industries.
7. Yeah.
I was going to say just VOD Industries in general, but like that's what this is going to be like.
Listen, hand up. I just saw Anna de Armas as Marilyn Monroe at NC-17.
And I think a lot of people did, and they're like, ooh. And they got their jimmer jammers up, but I don't think it's going to go that way. I think you're gonna leave this movie feeling sad.
A tallywhacker. The fuck did you say? Huh? No, nothing, baby. Come on, baby. Right. We have top 10 Netflix original movies, and I came up with a list of 10. Davey came up with a list of 10. We combined the two,
and I fucked up again. Spoiler.
Believe it or not,
big market tease.
Davey fucked it up again. Shockingly.
Yeah.
Davey omitted 1 or 2 films from the top 50 comic book movies. Also, somehow fucked this list up too. And I was like, I was surprised when I saw it. I'm like, I don't know. Maybe he likes these 10 more than this one, but I'm like,
nope.
I like this one a lot. So
yeah.
I would say we had but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we had 5 overlaps.
Good.
And then there's a combination of ones that just I had or just you had that made this list. We'll do a shit ton of honorable mentions at the end. But let's start with number 10. Netflix original movies. And really, this is like a 5-year thing. Like, I think they started in like 17 making actual their own movies and just releasing them on Netflix. And they've made more and more and more as it's gone on. And as I was like going through all the movies to make sure I didn't forget any, what a range. You have some dog shit, like never should have been made movies. And then you have some like really, really good ones on there. So Netflix is tricky. Like when they come out with a new movie, you have no idea how it's going to be. All right. Number 10 on our list is Ma Rainey's Black Bottom with Chadwick Boseman, one of his final movies that he made. He was nominated for an Oscar, didn't win, probably should have. And he did win the Golden Globe for it, but it's Viola Davis and Chadwick Boseman, and it's based off of a play, which makes sense because there's only like 1 or 2 settings, really, in the
Mhm.
whole thing. So it's easily a play, but the acting's just off the charts, or off the charts. And it's 1920s like blues singers, basically the thing. Viola Davis is like really famous, and she goes to different places. And Chadwick Boseman's character is a trumpet player, and he's really good, but he's not a big known person just yet. But it's like, to me, it wouldn't normally like appeal to me, but I started watching because of Chadwick Boseman, and I got so sucked into it. I'm like, this was just incredible. And it's really, if it was different actors, you probably wouldn't even think twice about it. But those two put on an absolute show. So I recommend it to everybody, even if it's not your cup of tea. It's a really good movie.
And this is a movie. So admittedly, I haven't seen this movie, but I am aware of it, and I believe the words masterclass,
yes,
and clinic were like an acting clinic put on by these two.
Both.
Like how to do, and I like you, like I love watching movies that like any like David Mamet movie that was supposed to be a play, like Glengarry Glen Ross or something like that.
It's pretty cool.
That's in one setting. It kind of feels like a play, and it's all relying on the performance of the people rather than sets and whatever. Like, so I think this is a movie that I eventually have to see. I know that. But it just, I think it came out. So once Chadwick Boseman passed away, it was like, I didn't watch it initially because it was like too raw. I was like, I didn't really want to watch that yet. And it kind of got washed away, but I do need to come back to this eventually.
I highly recommend it. I think it came out, or it was like 2 or 3 months, I think, probably after he passed away, or maybe 4. It was the same year, obviously. It was pretty crazy. So obviously available on Netflix. All right, next one you got.
So the next one, number 9 coming is Always Be My Maybe. Now, the play on the Mariah Carey song Always Be My Baby, starring the fabulous Ali Wong and Randall Park. So this probably, to me, one of the better romantic comedies I've seen in the last couple of years. And it kind of surprised me. Did you see this one?
No, I didn't. So maybe it would have made me.
I mean, it's actually pretty good, pretty clever. You have these two people who were, it's that setup of like a boy and a girl who were like best friends, like all growing up, like grew up together, had one awkward encounter, and then kind of went their separate ways. Okay. And then, as luck would have it, they find their way back to each other. And, there was their parents always, you should have been with this person and blah, blah, blah. There is a one killer cameo in it that I won't give away. Okay. But the person who is the cameo is fantastic.
Okay.
And it's just a like straight up romantic comedy that is charming and at times witty and legitimately funny at times. So if you haven't checked it out, check it out. And Groovy Dude blew the cameo. If you haven't seen it, he blew it in the chat.
Sure did. All right.
Sure did. Yep. Mm-hmm.
All right. You give us the next one as well.
All right. So the next one, because you haven't seen the next one either. So speaking of, Netflix does a thing too. Their documentaries. I have 2 documentaries from them on this list. Spoiler. So this is the first one. Yeah.
Let me just real quick say I didn't include documentaries. I think you are 100% right to do so. It's just the way my mind works. I think of documentaries as separate, but that's sort of documentary.
So you fucked up.
I don't know if I would have put them in there. It would have been close. Like the next one, I haven't seen this one. The next one I went and watched recently, so I probably would have had it in there. But my point is, I usually kind of lump them separate because most documentaries I watch are of the series variety.
Yes. So this is a long form documentary picture.
Right. So it definitely counts. Like I always consider like Hoop Dreams, for example, one of the best movies of '94, even though it's a documentary. So but go ahead. Number 8.
So number 8 is a movie called Crip Camp. Now this was I love this movie, not just because of it kind of shines a light on like how people with disabilities were treated back in the 60s and the 50s and 60s and before that. But the movie takes place, it talks about a summer camp that kids with disabilities will go to. Is one of the first of its kind. And you hear these horrific stories of like these kids who were able-minded, just not able-bodied, who were put into like special needs class and like didn't get that because the education system didn't know what to do with them. So you would put kids in with like mental disabilities in the same room with kids with physical disabilities, but they were perfectly fine and they could have learned and whatever. So you have this summer camp where all of them could go together. And by the way, My wife is an occupational therapist by trade, and she's watching this with me and being like, "This is the most dangerous thing I've ever seen."
Jesus
Like
Christ.
people in wheelchairs like throwing themselves into pools, and like they're having the best time, but it's like super unsafe. It's like basically and it was. But one of the fascinating things about it is that the alums of this camp went on to help build legislation and reform legislation for people with disabilities, and they became like this band of people who made these huge changes for people with disabilities. So it's actually very fascinating talking about the education system and like rights for people with disabilities that all stemmed from this camp. So if you're into that kind of like documentary, it's very, very well done.
All right, very good. Yeah, I have not seen it. I'll have to check that one out. All right, coming in at number 7 actually was number 8 on both of our lists.
Yeah.
And maybe coming in with a little bit of recency bias, but number 7 is The Gray Man, Russo brothers with Ryan Gosling and Chris Evans and Ana de Armas, who will be playing Marilyn Monroe in the upcoming Blonde. Also, Jessica Henwick, the girl from Tammy Craps in the
so that's why and I said to the people, that's the reason why that girl was sick. I don't know if you knew that. She wasn't 60 lbs.
She wasn't 60 lbs.
And she got a Tammy Craps with farts in her head, and now she's sick.
So this movie, and Billy Bob Thornton, obviously, too.
Yes.
It was in this. I enjoyed the shit out of this. I thought this was a blast. And again, maybe if this movie came out 2 years ago, it wouldn't be in our top 10. Maybe I wouldn't be as fresh on my mind. It was the most recent one that I watched before we ranked him. But Ryan Gosling, like, I like him. Like, I think he's good and stuff. And even though he always kind of has the exact same cadence, no matter what role he's playing, I still like it. He's obviously very charming. Something about him works. And then Chris Evans as a villain, awesome.
He was like almost likable. Like that was the fucked up thing about it. Like he was, and I don't know if you put it in the board yet, but him saying in the heat of battle, they're fist fighting, and he looks at Ryan Gosling and he says, "Let's see if any of these moves fuck."
Yeah.
Like, what? What? Who wrote that line? Who wrote that line?
Great line.
Let's see if these moves fuck.
Yeah, I'll add that to the board. I fucking meant to. I forgot. Yeah, that.
But you knew as soon as I said that you're going to add this.
That was obvious. You're like, there's a line at the end of the movie, and I'm like, yeah. As soon as he said it, I fucking laughed. But like, there's like good action scenes in this. Yeah. There's like sneaky, like some comedy in there. All the actors and actresses, like you like seeing them when they're on the screen. Like just simple shit like that.
The only thing I would ask, and I point this out, if you were, how many times in a 72-hour period could you get hit by a car, get up, and walk away?
Me personally, probably the zero.
Yes, you
times.
Personally, zero times.
0 times.
Ryan Gosling does it 4 or 5 times.
He's still different. What do you want?
Doesn't feel pain. His dad was mean to him, right?
Yeah, right. That's most people's origin stories, right?
Yeah, most people's origin. Dad was mean, so I'm super tough now.
So now you can't hurt me. All right.
Yeah.
Fair enough. But yeah, it's good.
So coming in at number 6. Now, this is my second documentary on the list, and one that for me is incredibly visually done. The audio in this movie is cool, and the story is actually really cool. And number 6, we have My Octopus Teacher.
Watching this movie,
and watching this movie once, it's great. You're like into the story, and like this is what I love about this. And this it goes on the same list with like Jiro Dreams of Sushi, which is another one of my favorite documentaries, the one about the sushi chef.
Mm-hmm.
You watch it once, you're like, it's so calming and it's so wonderful, and like it's a really cool story about this guy and his relationship with this octopus that he goes to he dives in the same spot every day, and he like visits this octopus, and kind of like their like interactions together. Mm-hmm. After you watch this movie once, it becomes probably the best movie I know to fall asleep to, just because it's so, you have the underwater sounds, and like it's so calming, and the guy's voice is like so calming,
big time.
And now my wife won't watch it because I'll do impressions of him.
Wow.
Like, my life with the octopus in this kelp garden, in the kelp forest, like that. I'll just do like that. Try to do that.
Pretty good.
Like, she's like, you fucking ruined the movie. Like I can't watch it because
it's still a good movie. You happen to do a pretty good impression. So this is.
And Brad is quick to point out that it is the Deep's favorite movie.
There's no doubt. Now the octopus has to be, without question, the strangest creature on planet Earth.
The thing where it like turned itself into a pile of rocks, I was like, that is the craziest shit I have ever seen.
And I know it's wild to throw that out there. There's a lot of things in the world. I get it. Like the platypus is it's a very strange creature. A lot of they think it's just like extra parts.
A beaver with a duck bill with poisonous claws. Like who would think of that?
It's a fucking mess, that thing.
Yeah.
But the octopus
that lays eggs. Yeah.
Like watching it, like when you see the octopus in this thing, and that's the like you hit on it. There's better camera work in this than like any fucking Discovery Channel thing I've ever seen. And like those are all great too. I'm not even shitting on those. It's just like there's like how he was able to film everything. It was like it was written. Like it was almost like he gave the octopus fucking lines. It was like scene work. He's like, all right, do this. But you don't know if the fucking thing is forward, backward, upside down. He's got 8 legs. They have fucking 2,000 suction cups. He's got little breathe holes. He's got his eyes started. He can
change its body. Yeah, it changed its body so it was like running on the bottom of the ocean. Like it's fucking crazy. And then it changed color.
They're a fucking chameleon. And then he did the thing where he fucking put all the rocks on him.
Yeah.
It's fucking amazing. Like it is an amazing documentary. And you know, octopus is very smart. Now, one thing, this guy had way more control than I would have had. So minor spoilers, I guess, here for my octopus teacher, but he obviously got to know this octopus really well. The octopus ended up trusting him, the whole nine, right? He explains all that. I know that, you know, nature works in a certain way, and
you're not to interfere with it when
you're not to interfere. But this is like a one-off here. And when sharks are attacking this, essentially an animal that he loves and is befriended, how could you not fucking help it out?
Well, I think he does a good enough job of explaining it, where he's just like, one, I'm not to interfere with this, like, because it's the nature of everything.
He's right.
2, and I think you missed this because the whole movie shot basically underwater. The guy's doing it with a snorkel, so he has to fucking breathe. Like he has to go up, and like if you expect, I'm guessing like he's controlling his breath.
Yeah.
So if he gets into it with a shark, like he's gonna run out of air. Like he's gonna have to like.
Oh, that's a good point too. Yeah, it's amazing how he was able to get that footage without a tank. And so he says like the more you do it, the longer you can hold your breath. But I'm like, dude, that long? Like,
yeah.
And there's only one time in the whole thing where he's like, something was happening and I had to go up for air.
Yeah.
But it actually, the first time that he didn't interfere ended up making the movie better. If you think about it, like the movie was able to kind of show sort of like a,
then what happens next is actually super fascinating as well.
This is a good conspiracy. Some people believe that octopuses are actually aliens.
If that's one of those conspiracy theories where, like, if you told me that was, they proved that was absolutely true, I'd be like, yeah, that totally makes sense.
I mean, the fucking Simpsons, the aliens that are in all the Halloween specials, they look like octopus.
Was it Kodo and Poto? No, it's
fuck.
Kodo and Poto are the 2 weasels from Beastmaster. That's a deep pull.
I forget their names, but yeah, they're in like every Treehouse of Horror. Yeah. It's awesome. But yeah, I'm with you. I was just talking about that movie the other day with my mom, and then I went and watched it. I hadn't seen it, and
Hang and Kodos.
Yes, so good.
Yeah.
But that's a good one. Coming in number 6. All right, number 5 on our list, Brian.
This number is the 5. One I fucked up.
This was number 1 on my list. It did not make Davey's list. He sent me a text an hour before it went on the air. He's like, fucked up. I didn't have it on the list. And I was surprised. I'm like, all right, maybe he didn't like it as much as I did, because I love this movie from earlier this year. Coming at number 5 overall, would probably be higher. We're going with Metal Lords. Metal Lords is a treat.
Yeah. I can explain what happened. So basically, I looked at, so when we do these things, like we come up with the topic, and then I'm like, all right, I'm going to do my homework and I'm going to research like all the list of like Netflix movies that have been released. And I'm going to like by year, and I'm going to like pick out which ones I think are the best. Right. It was a list that came out before this movie came out. So it wasn't listed on the list. So like I just missed it. Yeah. This movie should be 1 or 2. I'm going to say that right there. The movies that are 1 or 2 are good, but given how you and I felt about this movie is way too low. This movie is awesome.
I love it so much. And it's one of those movies that I had a smile on my face. I think the whole hour and a half, hour 40 minutes, whatever it was. The 3 kid actors, or I guess they're not kid actors, they're like teenager actors,
right,
are all very good. The main kid is unbelievable. I can't wait to see him in something else.
And it was just like, if you haven't seen this movie, is like if Eddie Munson had his own movie, if like Eddie Munson was forming a band in high school, like it would be this movie.
Oh, so good. Like
and a fucking great band and just like great songs and like
the songs they play in it, and then they actually, what a risk they take, but they actually have an original song and at the talent show, and
it rips.
Oh my god. I a couple times a week I'll just go back and listen to that. That song fucking destroyed.
I think it's on Spotify.
Gotta be. Yeah, man, it is a blast. I also, you know me, I like a high school setting. High school settings are made for good movies and TV shows. And so Metal Lords, as of right now, I'm gonna definitely nominate this for movie of the year. Like it is, I've seen a ton of movies. This is one of my top 6.
We're giving it a dorky nom.
We're giving it a dorky nom. Yep. Maybe best musical. So you can't go wrong with Metal Lords. All right, coming in at number 4. This one is also me. We both had this one on the list.
Yes,
but we're going with The Harder They Fall. So The Harder They Fall came out last year. Yeah,
and it kind of flew under the. But again, what a cast!
Yeah.
What an unbelievable cast, and the writing, like the dialogue in this, is so cool. Like the way the characters talk to each other. And I'm all just a sucker for a good Western.
I like a Western too. And just when you think it's been kind of done to death, you're like, they come out with this one. And Jonathan Majors, Kang, can do no wrong. Idris Elba, Zazie Beetz, Regina King, Delroy Lindo, Lakeith Stanfield. Like fucking unbelievable cast. And this is one of the surprises of last year. Just some good, like obviously some classic Western tropes, but they do it a little bit differently. And I don't know, just a bunch of characters that you like. Like that's sort of one of the themes of these good Netflix movies, have characters that you just like. Maybe it's not the greatest movie ever made, but I don't know, you're never bored watching The Harder They Fall. And this one's a good 2 hours plus, but didn't feel like it.
It's a super good. If you're into Westerns and you haven't seen a good one in a while, The Harder They Fall is actually pretty sweet. Yeah.
Yep.
I think the last good Western I saw before this was The Hateful Eight. So this is kind of like, in that vein.
Would you call Hell or High Water
that's
Western?
I think it's like a modern Western. I think that's what with Ty Sheridan, like that's his thing, is like he makes like these modern Westerns.
That's true.
But in terms of like classic Western movie, like that's like that is, and so is
you gotta go like Unforgiven,
Wind River, and like all those movies that he does are modern Westerns.
All right.
All right. So coming in at number 3, it looks like you had this listed as well, or else it wouldn't be number 3, is Mitchell's versus the Machines.
Yep. Oh yeah, we both had this.
A quirky, dysfunctional family's road trip is upended when they find themselves in the middle of like this kind of like robot tech apocalypse. It was done by the guys who did Into the Spider-Verse, which right there, I mean, they have a good feel for like animation and all that stuff. One of the best dog characters. What's the dog's name? The dog had a great name.
You're right. He did. I forget, but he was good. He provided some of the good comedy.
He did. The dog is a little stupid fat pug that is awesome. But the cast is Abby Jacobson, Danny McBride, Maya Rudolph, Olivia Colman, Eric Andre. Like it's like a super funny cast. And it's one of those kids movies where my kids really enjoyed it because it's funny and like all that stuff. But they do a great job of doing some quasi adult humor as well. So the daughter's like going to college and the dad is like, basically it's like a way cooler Goofy movie, where the kids going to college and like, extreme goofy movie. The kids going to college and the parents can't really handle it. And but it's actually a really, really cool movie. So if you haven't seen that, I think it was Oscar nominated as well. Should have won. I think it did. Encanto. Well, Encanto won, and Disney's just owns that category. But
true.
I gotta find the dog's name now. The dog's name is
Oh yeah, what was the dog's name? This movie also was originally titled
Munchie or Monchi.
Munchie.
Monchi. Yeah.
Monchie. It was originally
M-O-N-C-H,
titled Connected. I think it's a much better title to be The Mitchells versus the Machines.
Yes.
Connected, kind of lame.
Yeah.
All right, coming in number 2 on our list, and this is a little bit of
They're playing a little fast and loose with the rules here, but I see it as one thing. Yeah.
But there are rules. So we're going with Fear Street. Obviously, a trilogy of movies that were released 1 week apart, which we talked about at the time. We did a standalone episode on it. You can check it out in the archives, but loved it. From 1994 to 1978, maybe 1976, and then 17, whatever the fuck it was. There's 3 different years. 1994
was it 96, 76, 16, 66 or something like that?
Yeah, or is it? I don't know, whatever it was, but it was good. They even said they might make more of these. It was 78, and then
so
16.
78, and then
I
16, 66.
And so you had like sort of your 90s slasher, then you had your camp movie of the 70s, 80s, and then you had, which thankfully in 1666 they didn't spend their whole time in 1666 because I was getting a little.
God. Oh
so,
yeah,
I kind of saved it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And
that was the perfect amount of time. I remember we were talking about that.
Yeah,
like if they said that whole movie was in that time period, that would have sucked.
Would not have worked. You got a little bit of Maya Hawke in the first one, and then you got Sadie Sink in the second one. So it did have, and not just because of that, but it had Stranger Things vibes to it as well.
Yeah.
Obviously,
and that was the first time I saw Sadie Sink act, and I'm like really act.
Yeah,
and she's fucking good. Like she was good in that movie.
Yeah, and I like how they all connected, obviously, and the whole thing. But those are just fun horror movies. So
yeah,
that was
just
easy one.
And what a great format to do 3 movies in 3 weeks.
Awesome.
I mean that more. They need to do that more. And I know we talked about what Netflix is. They're pissing subscribers right now because they're up in prices and doing stupid shit. But they need to do more of this, like more Bandersnatch, like choose your own adventure movies. Like I think that's a kind of a cool concept.
Yeah, because
so is this.
Yeah, I agree.
Like you film 3 movies all at once and then you release them. You could do it bi-weekly.
Yeah,
and it'd be tits.
And the shit that they were looking at, like it was like trending too, like for a while. Like, and if that's, I don't know, that's one metric that they're probably just people talking about it, And then if you cut away a little bit, or even if you do one every other week or whatever it is to space it out, just so people aren't getting like the free.
That's
Oh, that's what you said. Yeah. So that makes a little bit more sense. But I don't know. I was here. That was a pleasant surprise. Last year.
Yeah. And speaking of pleasant surprises, so as coming in at number 1. As bad as Coming to America was, the number 1 movie we have for, drumroll please, Dolomite Is My Name, the Eddie Murphy where he plays Rudy Ray Moore. Dolomite is one of those movies that I own on DVD and I make people watch. And I kind of silently judge you as you're watching it. It's like this and Army of Darkness. Like I'm going to sit with you and watch this.
Yeah. What do you
think? See how you feel about this. And your reaction to this movie will tell me everything I need to know about you.
Mm-hmm.
And so the story of how that movie got made, Rudy Ray Moore himself is just a wild character and just so funny. And I remember hearing his stand-up bits and watching Dolomite and thinking that this is the most unintentionally funny thing I've ever seen. And I think the first time I saw it, I think I was like 16 or 17 years old.
Yeah.
And it was how these types of movies got made. And you could tell that like Eddie Murphy was like super passionate about this because he plays Rudy Ray Moore. And again, a great cast. Wesley Snipes is in this movie. I'm trying to Mike Epps is in this movie.
Yeah,
the guy from Kimmy Schmidt, I forget his name, Titus. I forget his name, but he's super good in it.
Right.
Craig Robinson is in it. It's a super good cast. Cody Smith McPhee's in it as well. But super funny, a lot of heart. Like, we don't talk about that enough, I guess, in this podcast. Is the heart of this movie?
There was some good heart in there.
Good. Yeah.
One of
sorry.
I was just gonna say one of my favorite parts of the whole thing, and it's the fucking sex scene that they have. Yeah. It's one of the all-time greats. So MacGruber is still the best sex scene ever, and then just the over-the-top thing. But the part in it where, so first of all, you got like the frames are like spinning around or whatever.
Yeah.
But the line he says to her when he goes, put your weight on it.
Put your weight on it. Like that's in the movie too. And yeah,
fucking hilarious. Absolutely hilarious. I love it.
Yeah, the whole script that they bring like the ceiling down in that scene too. It's fucked. Like in that movie, you can see boom mics. Like the boom mic will like come into shot, and they kept it. Like,
but I mean, you're right.
On it.
At this point, this came out in 2019. You're like, does Eddie Murphy still have a fastball? And he does.
He does. I just think he rarely uses it. He rarely uses it for. Like I feel like he needs to go like do a stand-up tour again or something. Like just really do something like that. But
this was great.
Yeah, I mean, think of like Chappelle. Like think of like everything Chappelle does, people watch it, right?
Mm-hmm.
If Eddie Murphy did a stand-up special for like Prime or Netflix, how many fucking people would watch that? Or if it was like a theatrical release, how many people went and saw like Kevin Hart?
Oh yeah, when he went back to SNL, remember he crushed it.
Oh, he was so good too.
He was awesome.
Yeah.
All right, so there's our list. We got a shitload of honorable mentions, and we'll mention some of the other ones that we voted for. But so 10 through 1 was Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, Always Be My Maybe, Crip Camp, The Gray Man, My Octopus Teacher, Metal Lords at 5, should have been higher. Then The Harder They Fall, The Mitchells versus the Machines, Fear Street, and Dolomite Is My Name. Before people email us or tweet us, they probably will anyway, just when they see the title.
Yeah,
I didn't include Uncut Gems because despite being like partially Netflix distributed, it released internationally on Netflix first. In the United States, it was in theaters first, then Netflix. So it's an A24/Netflix movie, but I don't include it.
I don't too because it got a theatrical. None of these movies got a theatrical release. I don't think.
I don't think so either. Yeah, no, these were like straight Netflix, and then they put them on Netflix. Where some of these other ones were on there. So the other ones that received votes, you had El Camino, the Breaking Bad Jesse Pinkman movie. I had Hustle, the Adam Sandler movie that just came out. Where he played hoops, or he's a scout. I thought that one was good. I had the Adam Project on mine. That just came out this year too. It was pretty good. You had Bird Box.
I had Bird Box. I did, which was fine.
Yeah,
I didn't get the whole hype. It was at the time it was the most streamed movie ever, so I didn't get the hype.
Yeah,
but the movie was decent, so I did have that on my list. There was one that I told you I forgot, and I'm like, nah, fuck it, it's an honorable mention, and that was the Ballad of Buster Scruggs, which was the Coen Brothers movie. That was like a series of shorts, which is good but kind of weird.
Yeah,
at times.
I also had The Guilty, number 10 on my list. That was the Jake Gyllenhaal one where he's like he takes like 911 calls or whatever. Pretty fucking good.
Never saw that one.
It was pretty good.
The other one I would say is honorable. I haven't liked Bright.
Oh, I did not.
Yeah,
I like Bright. Thumbs up or thumbs down these.
Okay.
Gerald's Game.
Thumbs up.
Gerald's Game is pretty good. I like Gerald's Game. Mank. I actually like it a lot.
Yeah, it was good. Yeah.
I like that shit. The Trial of the Chicago 7.
Never saw it, actually.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
It was actually really good. Again, based on
good things about it. Yeah.
Yeah, it just missed my top 10, but I could see how it would be in other people's top 10. The Devil All the Time. The Tom Holland movie.
Yeah, nah,
not for you, Doug. Extraction. With Thor.
Just a solid action movie. I give that a thumbs up.
So you had Always Be My Maybe. I liked The Lovebirds for like a rom-com. Lovebirds was good.
Didn't see it.
Kumail Nanjiani. Let me see. The Lovebirds.
Oh, it's Kumail Nanjiani and who else was in it with him?
Issa Rae.
Yes.
From so this 2020, so just a couple of years ago. I liked it a lot. Let's see. The Babysitter, good little slasher horror movie.
I can't get over Bella Thorne. I don't like Bella Thorne.
All right. The Wrong Missy.
That movie was like
David Spade movie.
Sneaky funny. Yeah. Well, he's not funny. The girl in it, I forget her.
The girl's
Lauren,
amazing. Yeah.
She's great.
She's great. Incredible. Bad Trip.
Didn't see it.
Oh, fun, dude. Like way funnier than I thought it was gonna be.
Okay, I'll check that out.
Kate with Mary Elizabeth Winstead.
I like that movie.
So do I.
I know I like it. I like it more than you. It's like almost What's the other one that you didn't like that I liked more? Something milkshake.
Oh yeah, Gunpowder Milkshake.
Gunpowder Milkshake. I like that too.
The Texas Chainsaw Massacre wasn't great. That came out. The Highwaymen with Kevin Costner was better than I thought it was going to be a few years
That was
ago.
a bit of snooze. Yeah,
two Oscar-nominated movies that would be on everybody else's list, but not ours. Marriage Story and The Irishman.
I didn't like either of those movies.
Me neither. The Marriage Story was another like great Adam Driver performance. So like if you're looking for like just acting, that's a good movie. It also is a movie that says you're just probably better off staying married even if you're miserable, because that divorce process seems horrible.
I am convinced that 70% of the reason I'm still married is that my wife doesn't want to go through the process of a divorce.
Because she saw this movie and was like, fuck.
Yeah, I was like, I'm not doing that.
Fuck that. You also had 6 Underground with Ryan Reynolds, which is a pretty good like action movie as well.
That was decent. I was expecting more from that, because that was one of the first like big budget ones they did.
Yeah,
I feel like. Yeah.
The Old Guard was sure.
I like that movie.
It was fine.
There's supposed to be a sequel to that too, right?
I think you're right.
Yeah.
Between Two Ferns movie.
I like that movie too.
Netflix original. Hubie Halloween.
I hated that movie.
We did a standalone on. And Murder Mystery was the Adam Sandler, Jennifer Aniston, for lack of a better term, murder mystery that they did.
You couldn't come up with a better name than Murder Mystery?
Murder Mystery. Just straight up. What is it? Yeah. Murder Mystery.
Yeah. Why fuck around? Right. Yeah.
I think that's the list. I think the biggest objections will be, I don't know.
I mean, The Irishman was so fucking boring.
The Irishman was too boring. I think we did a standalone on that. You guys can check it out. I promise you the episode's more interesting and more entertaining than the movie was. Yeah, maybe Bird Box or maybe Extraction. Anyway, there you go. Let us know what you think. What did we miss? What were your favorite Netflix original movies that we didn't have? You can email us dorkpodcast@gmail.com or tweet at us at Dork Podcast. All right, we got one more thing to do.
Pick of the bomb. Pick of the bomb. Pick of the bomb.
Pick of the bomb. All right, Ryan, would you like to kick, receive, defer, or you may choose at this time to defend a goal?
I will defer to you at this time.
All right, then I will receive. I just bought something. Now it doesn't qualify for should I bought this.
I know what you're gonna.
It was only $2. I have it here. That's right, folks. It is a Wildcats #1 from Image Comics, drawn by Jim Lee, and I spent $2 on this. I think it's probably worth a small fortune.
I loved Wildcats, and I don't know, where did you get that?
A used bookstore. It's a #1, kid. It's gotta be fucking $400.
I'm gonna see what the price is for that. Right now, Wildcats #1, near mint, 9.8, $120.
Yeah, this probably isn't near mint though.
It's probably not. Well, like that's like a mint 9.8. I see one for $220, $240, $109, $60. So you already made back that money. Like now, if we go to a con, and Jim Lee goes to cons a lot, you can get him to sign that.
Oh boy,
that's gonna go up too, because Jim Lee's a legend.
Look at it. It's got like a grifter on there.
Grifter on there with his blonde hair. The precursor to Deadpool.
Look at this guy.
Yeah,
he's a handsome devil.
Love Grifter.
I love this team. Now, the thing about early Image Comics, which is kind of funny because now Image Comics is some of the best stories in comics now, like the different stories and writers that they have there. But early on, Image was just the coolest looking shit, and then the worst actual fucking stories. Like there was nothing to it. Like Youngbloods.
Like I'm thinking like the Savage. Was it the
They had Youngblood, they had Stormwatch, they had Wildcats. Now, obviously, they had Spawn too.
Savage Dragon was one I was just I was like, this looks really cool, and then I'm like, he did a crossover with Hellboy at some point. And you're just this is fucking weird.
Yeah, they had some bad stuff, but
didn't they have? It wasn't them, but was remember the Max? It was like an MTV cartoon. I don't think it was Image, but
yeah, I think so. Was it 2 X's on that?
Yeah. Is the purple guy with like the dagger fists?
Yeah.
Fucking Grifter was cool though.
Grifter was so cool. And Grifter now, there was some deal or whatever. He's now like in DC, or he has been for a while. But there's a book where it's Red Hood and Grifter both in the book together. It's fucking amazing. I have that as well. All right, Rob, what do you got? Oh yeah.
So I finally saw the movie Everything Everywhere All at Once. It's phenomenal.
Is it the best movie of the year? That's what everyone's saying.
It's one of them. If it's definitely up there. And it's super. I saw it like super timely too, because the idea of this movie that they kind of get to, and this is going to be kind of heady, but like, have you seen like those telescope pictures that they took, like with this new telescope, with like all these galaxies, like all these universes and stuff?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
Like, holy shit! Like, that blew my mind, and the fact that like how insignificant like I am. Like it's like it's you could take it, but the point of like this movie is like you could take that one of two ways.
We love you,
like, no, but like, okay, let me finish.
I understand what you mean. No, trust me.
Like,
I think about this shit all the time.
And I was really thinking about it, and then I watched this movie, and then like they're talking exactly about what I was, because if there's infinite universes and infinite me's, so basically it's a weird concept of like, think of like the Matrix and like a Rick and Morty episode, like combined into one. That's the best way I can describe it. And the acting is cool, and the fight scenes are awesome, and just kind of someone's built up with two dildos. It's great.
I gotta see this. Yeah,
you have to see it. It's bonkers, but it's really, really good. And good for Keefe Kwan for coming back. Data short round, and he crushes it in this movie. Yeah. He's so good.
Good. All right.
So I'll check that out for sure.
All right, next week, Ryan. I don't know if you want to do Paper Girls, or have you started Blackbird?
No,
on Apple
I have
Plus.
Not started Blackbird.
That's only 6 episodes. That's also that's ending this Friday.
Okay, so I might be able to power through Blackbird.
We can do one or the other or both. Let me know. Keep me posted, and then we can
keep you posted.
But those are 2 possibilities, and we can always split. We can always split it down the middle too, and spend like 20 minutes on one, 20 minutes on the other.
Could do that.
All right, awesome stuff. That'll do it. Let us know what you think of your favorite Netflix movies, and your should I have bought this dorkpodcast@gmail.com. You can rate, review, subscribe to the podcast. You can leave another review if you already left one review on Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts. And subscribe to the YouTube channel as well, youtube.com/dorkpodcast. Davey, you don't give a shit about anything, do you?
What'd you say?
I said you don't give a shit about anything, do you?
Rich, I forgot to mention.
Oh.
Biff Whiff is in Everything Everywhere All at Once.
No way.
Yeah.
Biff Whiff? So Biff Whiff was in, he went from I Think You Should Leave to an episode of Dave into
he's now in the best. He's in the best movie of the year. Yeah.
I mean, this guy is having an.
Sorry, so I forgot to mention that. But ask me again.
I've seen every cock on the planet.
You don't give a shit about anything, do you?
What'd you say?
I said you don't give a shit about anything, do you?
Not really.